In just the span of a few days, Anakin Skywalker went from a beloved Jedi Knight, a famous hero of the Republic and symbol of peace and justice in the galaxy, to a Dark Lord of the Sith who mercilessly slaughtered children. In truth, Anakin's descent into darkness had been a gradual journey that began the moment he was initiated into the Jedi Order, with the catalyst being his slaughter of a Tusken camp 3 years prior. The added turmoil of the Clone Wars increased the rate of Anakin's descent into darkness as he stepped closer to the dark side with each passing day. While his visions of Padme's death and the corruption of the Jedi Order pushed him over the edge during the events of Revenge of the Sith, you have to admit, his pledge to become Palpatine's apprentice still feels kinda sudden. It almost seems like Anakin does a complete 180 in the span of a few hours, going from Jedi to Sith pretty quickly. He seems to be completely loyal to the Jedi Order when he informs Mace Windu that Palpatine is a Sith Lord, even though his trust in the Jedi was shaken. But a short time later, Anakin ends up siding with Palpatine, assisting in Windu's murder and pledging himself to the teachings of the Sith. So why did Anakin obey Palpatine so quickly? Why did he impulsively betray everything he had ever known in such a short amount of time? Luckily, the answer can be found in the canon book Skywalker: A Family at War, where we can take a look at Anakin's thoughts during the night that he was named Darth Vader. As Mace Windu's body plummeted to the surface of Coruscant, Anakin sank to his knees in shock. He had sacrificed everything he held dear, Padme being the only exception, denounced the Jedi teachings, assisted in the murder of a Jedi Master, and become the very thing he had sworn to oppose. Palpatine should have been weakened by the alleged assassination attempt. Instead, he rose up, stronger than ever, his eyes burning yellow with the power of the dark side, and loomed over the weakened Anakin. Such was the nature of the dark side, feeding on pain and fear. Anakin's spirit was completely broken. No longer bewildered by the choices before him, he understood that there was no going back. He had made too many mistakes, ended too many lives to walk among the Jedi ever again. Defeated, he made a deal with the dark side. His life, his very soul, and his allegiance as Darth Sidious's apprentice in exchange for the knowledge to cheat death and save Padme. Driven to near insanity by his confusion, Anakin knelt before Sidious, a new apprentice, pledging complete loyalty and posed to wield more power than every Sith Lord that came before him. The tragedy of Anakin was not that he was a powerful Jedi who fell to ruin, but was a mere mortal man praised as a messiah, deceived by a lie. Palpatine had exploited Anakin's weaknesses with deft skill. He spoke to Anakin's deepest desires, while Jedi teachings merely mandated that he repress and somehow move beyond them. However, it was not enough for Anakin to claim allegiance to the darkness. His next actions had to be so despicable that they would erase all the good he had done during his years as a Jedi Knight. As he pledged to serve Palpatine, embracing the dark side and all it had to offer, Anakin became an instrument of evil. Palpatine easily convinced him that he had witnessed Mace Windu's attempted assassination of the Supreme Chancellor with his own eyes, instead of being an accomplice in the murder of a Jedi Master. However, Palpatine's powers of persuasion extended far beyond his manipulations of Anakin Skywalker. His real genius was making the Republic as a whole accept that the Jedi were all traitors. That was Palpatine's final act in a cunning campaign of division, sowing discord in the galaxy for years to come. With Anakin, Palpatine had entered his life as a mentor and friend, and cleverly set the young Jedi apart from the order he was supposed to serve. He had helped inflate Anakin's ego, buoyed his confidence, and stoked his impulses to acquire, own, and control everything he ever wanted. In doing so, he had taken the supposed chosen one of Jedi prophecy and turned him into an agent of darkness. Palpatine told his new apprentice, Darth Vader, that he feared the Jedi would kill anyone who stood in their way, including the two of them and the members of the Senate. Anakin was so broken that he did not even protest for a moment. His new master sent him to eliminate all who remained in the Jedi Temple, and he instantly obeyed. Meanwhile, Palpatine executed Order 66. As Anakin marched toward his newly sworn enemies, the Force moved darkly around him. Holovids throughout the Jedi Temple captured the massacre in horrifying detail. Leading a battalion of clone troopers, Anakin stormed the hallowed ground where generations of Jedi had been trained. Many Jedi were murdered that night. Not even the terrified younglings were spared as they cowered in the council chambers. By cutting them down, Anakin wasn't just slaughtering the future of the Jedi Order, he was excising the last shreds of his own innocence. Each slice of his lightsaber was a sacrifice so that his child might survive. With every Jedi he slayed, Palpatine's hold on Anakin's soul grew tighter. What sweeter victory could there be for Sidious than to take control of the Chosen One and turn him into a tool of the Sith, forcing him to exterminate the Jedi and everything they held dear? And just as Palpatine had foretold, Anakin's pain, anger, and hatred made him stronger in the dark side of the Force. Now in complete servitude to his new master, Anakin once more took on a familiar role, one that had dominated his early years, that of a slave. For one who had struggled so much to bend events to his will, suddenly being stripped of his self-determination had an oddly freeing effect on Anakin. In some corner of his mind, he managed to persuade himself that his brutal actions were the justified means to a noble end. However, on Mustafar, after murdering the members of the Separatist Council, Anakin finally had time to reflect. In the calm following his carnage, his rage subsided, to be replaced with despair and self-loathing. He had lost count of how many had died upon the blade of his saber. Anakin mourned the man he had once been, a single tear streaming down his face as he gazed out on the lava rivers. So as you guys know, I love Star Wars lore, obviously, but my favorite details have to be the thoughts of the characters during the events of the movies. That's why I love reading the novelizations of the Star Wars movies, and specifically this book, Skywalker, A Family at War, that serves as a biography of the entire Skywalker family. It does a great job of looking at every character's thoughts as the saga goes on. It's starting in the prequels with Anakin and then Luke in the OT, and then going into Rey and Ben in the sequel trilogy. But this specific information from the events of Revenge of the Sith is fascinating. This is also something that I have been very interested in Legends, specifically Anakin's thoughts when he became Darth Vader are revealed in the book Dark Lord: The Rise of Darth Vader. In the Legends continuity, it's actually revealed that Vader attacked the Jedi Temple and swore himself to Palpatine not to obey Palpatine, but in his own self-interest. He was being selfish, and he actually only did it because he truly thought that the Jedi needed to be destroyed so that he could take control of the galaxy and save Padme. He believed that the Jedi would never understand why he had sacrificed Mace Windu in order to save Palpatine and learn the knowledge to cheat death, so he decided that he should listen to Palpatine and destroy the Jedi, but he didn't really do it because Palpatine told him to. Obviously, it's a little different in canon, as we just looked at in this book, Skywalker, A Family at War, but I think it's still fascinating nonetheless. I really enjoyed this look into Anakin's mind during the events of Revenge of the Sith, because something that I think this book and the novelization of Revenge of the Sith do very well is emphasizing how Anakin's mind was basically destroyed by the time that he swore himself to the Sith. The novelization of Revenge of the Sith does a great job of explaining how Anakin gradually loses control of basically his impulses, his thoughts, his remorse, his emotions. Palpatine's manipulations mixed with his visions of Padme's death basically make him go almost insane. He's driven crazy, and by the time that he assists in killing Mace Windu, he is basically so mentally distraught that he can't even resist Palpatine anymore. It's honestly really fascinating. I think it adds a psychological element to the movie that is missing just because there's only so much that can be said and shown in exposition and stuff, and they have to keep the story moving. Anyway, that's what I really love about this information. I hope that you guys enjoyed it too. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you did enjoy it. And as always, may the Force be with you.